During a recent state visit to Ghana, Zambia's president appeared in a traditional Ghanaian attire, right? And similar style that Kwame Nkrumah wore during the independence era. And the gesture, what one would assume would be one of cultural respect and Pan African solidarity. But on social media, some commentators from Zambia, I would hope jokingly, referred to the outfit as a blouse. And that sparked a bunch of reactions from multiple people. But the question I'd like to ask us as Africans is, especially reading some of the comments, couldn't help but notice that, it sparked some war between Zambia and Ghana. And I'm really happy to be wrong in my assessment, but there's this silent war that seems to happen between, amongst us Africans, especially online. And you may say, well, this is just the internet being the internet, people being trolls. It's something that I've seen happen a lot across the continent. There's food wars. Oh, this belongs to us, that belongs to us. In terms of, weddings, you would see a wedding and people from a certain place would say, well, you're stealing from us, you're copying us. But us as Africans, is that what we're deciding to emulate as people? Especially when it comes to something as sensitive as our identity and our unity. Why do we seem to be in such a divisive state? And I thought it was something that we only had to contend with from our leaders. But apparently, we seem to be in some invisible fight with one another. It's always, oh, you're copying us, you're stealing from us. Why are you putting on this outfit? Are we educating our young people in the direction of understanding Pan-African values, in the direction of understanding our identity as Africans, in the direction of understanding that as Africans, we must pride ourselves on who we are as our individual nations and as a continent? There is a huge influence and a huge impact of living in a global world, and that doesn't affect, Africans alone. Many other cultures are being, there's a fusion that's going on across, cultures and across countries. But if we want to be intentional about preserving our identity and our cultural identity at that, what must we do? At the very least, understand that these things are symbols of who we are as people, and not make fun of it. That's not how we want to conduct ourselves culturally. We need to re-educate and rethink the education of not only us as a people and the information we're putting out together as a continent to the rest of the world. And it might seem trivial, but at the end of the day, who we are as Africans matters. And although we've shifted a little bit from where we come from as people, maybe, the influence of learning the Western education and, the media, social media in particular. And today we're left with a society of people who, if we're not careful, a few years from now, not only will our languages start disappearing, our culture will be disappearing as well, because if we're not transmitting it from generation to generation, or if we're not maintaining that at the very least, then give it a few years and what happens if we do not. I do not want to make a prediction of this, because I genuinely believe that we should take that responsibility up for ourselves and try to preserve our culture. In as much as we live in a very global world, it's very important for us to get to a space where we're enforcing such habits